Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today we are going to have a look at 4-leaf clover and various thresholds where you can do a critical shot every other miss. So 4-leaf clover misses and VATs now contribute to the critical meter based on your luck. And that's what we'll look at is various thresholds of luck in combination with other things to get a critical hit every other miss. So you'd miss a shot, do a critical hit, miss a shot, do a critical hit. That would be the pattern. So the default behavior of critical hits is every time you hit a target in VATS, a portion of your critical meter fills up, and when it's full, you trigger a critical hit and it depletes it down to 0 and you start the process all over again. And this only happens in VATS. You can't refill your critical meter with hits outside of VATS, and you cannot do critical hits outside of VATS. And this perk, Critical Savvy, will have an effect on how much of your critical meter is used up when you do a critical hit. So at maximum rank, which is the way I'll be running it, a critical hit will now only consume 55% of my critical meter. So now when I trigger a critical hit, instead of it going down to 0, it only goes down to 45%. And so that's just less of my critical meter that I have to fill up when I hit an enemy. So it'll fill quicker because I'm starting at a higher point. There is also the third star, the weapon star, that is lucky. And that is plus 15 bonus VATS critical charge. And I think that's 15%. I'm pretty sure it used to say 15%, and that was changed at some point. But in any case, the lucky third star will actually fill your critical meter quicker. And then we have the 4-star effect, limit breaking. Each worn piece of armor reduces the cost of critical hits by 10% up to 50% on a full stack. So basically, this works like Critical Savvy. When you do a critical hit, less of your critical meter is consumed, which means it refills quicker because there's less of it to refill. And that's what we're looking at today is just different combinations of things to see what levels of luck you need to do a critical hit every other miss. So I have 2 weapons I'll be using for this test. Both of them are lever action rifles. This one is Furious with faster fire rate and plus 3 luck. Other than that, it's no mods except for the suppressor so I can stay hidden. And the other one is the same, except instead of plus 3 luck, I have that lucky third star on that. And so we'll be using both of these depending on the configurations we have going. All right, so first off, we're using the lever action that's just plus 3 luck, so we're not getting that faster crit refill. And we have 4-leaf clover and critical savvy. That will be these two perks will be equipped for every phase of this. And as far as the armor goes, I had to craft a whole bunch of different pieces so I could get the right combinations of things. So I have a full set of this. It's just unyielding with extra luck. Nothing else that's going to be that's going to be affecting the critical meter at all. So for starters, if you have that combination of things and you want to, you have no other helpers other than Critical Savvy and 4-leaf clover, you need a luck of 51 to be able to do a critical hit every other miss. All right, and we've got some ghouls over here. So you can see where my critical meter is. We're at about that 40, well, it should be at 45%. And if I pull the trigger and shoot, my critical meter is full and I could do a critical hit. And we'll do that again. So first shot's a miss and my critical meter is full. So yeah, you need 51 if you don't have any other helpers to do a critical hit every other miss. So now we have switched the weapon and we are using the one with lucky, and just that little change actually has a pretty good impact on how much luck we need. And so just making that little change reduces the amount of luck we need to crit on a miss, every other miss is 37. So that drops it by quite a bit. So you can see there's our critical meter at that 45%, and one trigger pull fills the critical meter, and there is our critical hit. We have another ghoul over there. We'll just do this twice. There we go. A miss and a critical hit. So 37 if you're using a lucky weapon. Okay, so we switched in one limit breaking piece of armor. So we still have our lucky gun that we're using, and now we have one piece of armor. So this is going to be lucky plus 1 piece of limit breaking. And that reduces the luck requirement down to 33. So we've got some ghouls up here. So you can see our critical meter at 45%. Pull the trigger and we have a critical hit. We could do that again. Critical hit every other miss. And the number, by the way, I did test this with and without lucky. I won't show you that part because it was a lot to try and get there. But if you are not using a lucky gun and you just have 1 piece of limit breaking, the number is 43. So lucky actually does make a huge difference if you're looking to crit as frequently as possible. So yeah, 43 is the number without lucky, or 33 is the number with lucky and 1 piece of limit breaking. So now we are going to go with lucky and 2 pieces of limit breaking. I've had to craft all kinds of crazy pieces of armor for this, some with luck, some without. just to get the numbers where I want them. But we've got a left leg and a right arm that both have limit breaking. The other 3 pieces have the Ranger's effect on them. So we have 2 pieces of limit breaking, and we've got a lucky gun. And that means we need a luck of 30 to do a critical hit every other miss. So we've got a ghoul up here. So you can see there's our critical meter. We pull the trigger, and the critical meter is full. And we could do a critical hit just like that. Let's find another gun, another ghoul. Too bad we can't shoot guns. You could do that in Fallout 3. So there we go. 1% chance turns into a critical hit. So not too bad. And the requirement there, if you're not using a lucky gun, would be luck of 37. So 2 limit breaking pieces and a gun that doesn't have lucky on it. Luck of 37 needed for a crit every other miss. All right, so now we have 3 limit breaking pieces right here. 1, 2, 3. And we still have the lucky gun equipped. And to crit every other miss on this configuration, you need luck of 26. So there's a ghoul. You can see our critical meter. I mean, I guess it's going to be over, I kept saying 45%, but once you add in limit breaking, it's actually going to be higher than that because it consumes less of your critical meter. So as we keep adding limit breaking pieces, we'll be starting from a higher and higher place, which is, yeah. So anyway, so this will be our, there we go. There's a miss, there's a critical, there's a miss, there is a critical. So yeah, there we go. 26 luck with 3 limit breaking pieces and a lucky weapon. If you are not using a lucky weapon, what you need is 33 luck. So quite a bit of difference there. Lucky really does help a lot with this. So now we have 4 limit breaking pieces equipped. All of these are limit breaking, and we still have our lucky gun. The number you need for that is luck of 23. There we go. There is a victim right there. So we pull the trigger. You can see our critical meter is starting pretty far up at this point. There we go. We've got a scorch this time. There we go. So there we go. Couple of victims there with luck of 23. Now, if you're not using a lucky weapon, in this case, you would need luck of 30 with 4 limit breaking pieces. All right. So now we have 5 limit breaking pieces. Here we go. 5 limit breaking pieces. All of these, all of these are limit breaking. Make sure I have the right ones equipped. So with 5 limit breaking pieces and a lucky weapon, luck of 20 will give you a critical hit every other miss. If you are not using lucky, if you're just using a gun that has some other 3rd star on it, that number is 25 luck. So here we go. And you can see how full, I mean, our critical meter looks like it's about 75% full at this point. So it's probably maybe even higher than that. But yeah, so we have a miss and we have a critical hit, and we could just do this over and over again. So basically, as long as we're having, something above 1%, we're going to critical hit every other time we pull the trigger. And there you have it, a bunch of luck thresholds that you need to do a critical hit every other miss using 4-leaf clover. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit one of the buttons, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you very much.